I've been noticing a lot of relationships today starting to go off the like they off the rocks. Like it's all over the place. Not only is it all over the place, you're seeing more and more and more men starting to fail at producing production and their own livelihood. Like when it comes to being productive, it comes to just getting things together. Men are all over the place now because they've been taught to cater. Always take their feelings into the back burner. Don't have to be worried about. You start to realize this in due time. Like as you start to notice that Father's Day come up, it's not really looked at the same. All of a sudden, commercials start to get less of. You see, dad's tools, this and that. But at the same time, you like, look, take me out to a dinner. Take me somewhere where I feel good. But you don't get that. And if you do get it, it's the most mediocre. Like, you don't see many women really looking out for their man. And when you tend to see that, you end up realizing, where is the benefit of being a provider and doing the things out here that make you feel like you're supposed to crash out for somebody? Sad part about reality is that a lot of us been strayed in a way that make us think that we're supposed to live a life a certain way. We're supposed to not only sit back and take advice from the older generation, but they led us in the wrong way. They led us in the wrong, like in the wrong direction. We tend to think that was the right. But if you kind of think about it, where we at today, it is not how it was back then. Women are not in the kitchen. They're not cooking up food for the whole family. They're not sitting up there making sure the house is clean. They're not also making sure that everybody is balanced. No, they're doing the same thing as the man. So when we walk around and we see women operating a certain way, we see women operating in their own. They all for self, all for self. This is one of the reasons why you see a lady say, I make $150,000, but I can't have a man that's making less than me. That makes sense, right? Okay. It makes sense to them. You know damn well that don't make sense to us. We make 150. That 150 is for the family. Not only that, she's most likely probably home. That's when the guys say, I want my wife to stay home. I don't want her to work. Okay. That's because that's how we're raised. We're raised to always cater. Cater. And at the end of the day, what happens when you cater? You become, I don't want to use the S word, but a lot of times people like the word simpy. But at the same time, you're doing something to make the woman feel good. But then this is the problem. When does it come into play to say that when does the man feel good? When a man starts to feel like he's not appreciated, he's taken advantage of, that's when we start to show our ass. We start to not only show our ass, but we start to show how miserable we are from our actions. We start going out, we start doing things, we start going outside the household. But this is the one thing I have noticed. They always show the statistics. Goddamn, I'm battling with that word. And they always say men don't leave marriages. More women leave the marriages. But this is the problem. When it comes to men leaving marriages, you know why? One of the biggest reasons that they don't say, we don't leave. It's not that we just don't want to leave. We don't leave because we're the ones that get the short end of the stick. If we didn't get the short end of the stick, we wouldn't leave. Well, I'm lying. Rephrase that. We'll be bouncing at a high rate. Trust and believe. I was wrong about that. I was thinking real fast. And then I was really sitting there and I'm like, oh no, I'm tripping. We would leave. If we did not get the short end of the stick, we would bounce just as high as them. Even though we want to keep our families together. But one thing I learned about, like, as being a man, when we start to become miserable, we can still do without you. But the problem is, when you got the courts starting to be implemented into the lifestyle of the man and the female, and next thing you know, you got kids going here. All of a sudden now you're being extorted, which is called child support. When you're seeing all these things play out, it's a tug of war battle. And then you start to look at these stats. That's why I tell you stats are vague. They're not realistic. They're not. People think they're realistic. They're not. If you're around men, one thing we do say, we wish we can reevaluate a marriage after a good 3 to 4 years. Not no 10, 3 to 4. Because then we realize, yo, I fucked up. All right, well, it's going on year 4. License not getting renewed. So, hey, peace. Got you. Hey, my son or my daughter, they're going to be here this week or half the week. We'll be splitting every, you know what I mean, throughout the week, whatever how I go. But at the end of the day, nobody can get no child support. If it was like that, yo, it'd be a lot more things balanced. But what's happening is now they're starting to implement laws into place to start to show that, all right, it's time to start to look at some things different. That's why you start to see certain states starting to implement certain rules when it comes to custody. That's one thing. When it comes to 50-50 and the child support, now you have other states who are starting to jump on board to start looking at alimony. I know Florida was looking at alimony. If I'm not mistaken, it might have been Florida. I'm thinking it is. Forever alimony. I don't know how the hell you come up with forever alimony, but I think that's Florida, if I'm not mistaken, or California is one of them. You'll have to look that up. I know it's one of them. And then you're looking at when people taking half your shit that they ain't even put no money into. That's what I'm saying. Being a provider comes with some downfalls. And it comes with more downfalls than ups. People will talk about having your back. Look, man, I have my own back. Have my own back. At the end of the day, I don't need nobody to really have my back. Because at the end of the day, when you got to get stuff done, you're going to get it done. And when you're going to get it done, you're going to do it and you're going to see the fulfillment. And once everything is accomplished, you know, things don't happen overnight. It's a progress. When you look at framing right here, this used to be a wall. This wall right here took me 2 weeks. 2 weeks. But at the same time, that 2-week process, cats are jumping in and out of relationships. And then, yeah, look, I am to blame. I could tell you that. But I also learned that being in a lot of relationships, or should I say situationships, you realize, man, I probably should have stayed solo. I probably should have. They always say, oh, you have kids married. It don't matter. We play a game of thinking things matter. It don't. You either a good dad or you're not. But just because you're a good dad don't mean that you are likely to be successful in a marriage. It's not true. It's not. And it never will be. It never will play out that way. So if you think it's going to benefit you to do that, then you go do it. But I don't like it when you look at guys say, you're standing before God, you're doing this, you're doing that. Well, guess what? If you were doing that, then back then, how come they didn't have these $500,000 rings back then in the biblical days? We always associating everything with the Bible, but not realizing that, okay, we associate everything with the Bible, but then why are you taking half my stuff? Why are you playing around with the kids? Why are you doing all these things whereas though babies are being planted on guys and it's not even a kid? Everything is the Bible till it's not. Till it's not in the benefit of the female. But then all of a sudden it's the Bible when you taking advantage of the guy. And then you get these guys. The guy that was on the Cam Newton show. I don't want to call him a lame, but come on, dog. This is somebody from an older generation that been with somebody since they was, high school. Like, come on. I'm not listening to that. We're not in those days. He's off. People like that shouldn't give advice. You obsolete. That's like an old book that was written that's no longer have the same word language in it no more. Don't mean the same thing. No, it don't. This ain't the 70s. This ain't the 60s. It's not. I think guys need to wisen up and smarten up and realize that we are not in the life of fulfilling other people when we can't even get ahead. All right? Be safe. Like and subscribe.